Hey, hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry for the change of time today. All the other ones will be at 9, as per normal, but had a first day of daycare for my son this morning, drop off, so we needed a little extra time for tears. Um, so interesting morning, but so we should be back to 9 next week. So I think that might have thrown off a couple people here that maybe didn't see the memo for 9:30. But um, so Brittany, this is your first time on, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yes, good to see you.
You as well.
Feel free to turn the camera on if you get a chance. Um, this is hey Trish, how are you? Um, this is week 1, so you're starting at a good time. Yolanda's in here. So this is module 1 of 12. It kind of just rotates over and over. It just so happens that you're starting on week 1. For example, Yolanda, she started last week of week 12. I think Denny's also started last week. That was your first week. So yeah, so you're starting at a good time. This one's a very basic introduction. So this one's a pretty easy. This one just kind of more of your mindset and setting your goals and getting ready. Next week we'll go into building your brand, and then the following week building your database, and then we'll just kind of evolve from there. So feel free to chime in. I'm gonna probably pick on you guys some, so be prepared to talk. Trisha is a pretty experienced agent out of Florida, newer to North Carolina. And the other three of you guys are newbies. So we'll dive in.
I'm so new, I need to know what forms the correct forms for a listing. Because I have a listing when I come down there this Friday.
All right. That's great news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can yeah,
And where to find them.
Yeah, we can pop that up, and that's in North Carolina.
Yes,
Okay.
Charlotte.
Yeah, we can go through some of those forms for sure. So let me share my screen. All right. Have I seen my screen? Welcome to Rev Up. All right. So again, this is module 1, goals, planning, and systems. Today's daily affirmation: I am the architect of my life. I build its foundation and choose its contents. Feel free to write that down or use your own affirmations, whatever gets you guys through the day. Charlene, who just finished her last Rev Up last week, she's a big affirmation person, so she was good with these. So again, we're going to go over mindset, which is a big part of what we do. The tools that you guys need to use, thinking like a business owner. Denise, I know you already own a company, so this should be easy for you. Should be an easy transition. Your goals and your productivity. Some other things we're going to go through: scripts, follow up. Characteristic for successful real estate agents. Honestly, the biggest part is your work ethic, right? The time that you put into it is the time that the money that you're going to get out of it, really. So it is something that you guys have to spend some time into it. And again, everyone, is at a different stage when they begin. So if you guys need to be part-time or have other jobs in the meantime, Trisha's going from state to state, so everyone has a different situation coming into it. But again, that the time that you can put into it, if you can consistently set aside those times, you guys will be great. And then the positive make it happen mindset is so huge. You guys have no idea, like every transaction is so different, and it is so easy to get frustrated. It's frustrating to get clients. I see her nodding her head. And even when you get a client, get them under contract, people get crazy when it comes to money. So things get weird sometimes. So you have to have a positive mindset, or you will keep yourself up at night for sure. diligence, hard work, and self-discipline, being consistent and sticking to your schedule. And you guys will hear me say this. I mean, I'm a big time blocker, and my mornings are normally when I'm doing all my calling and going to all my leads. If I wasn't on here right now, that's what I would be doing. My 9 to 11 is blasting the phones, following up, texting, email potential clients. So that's when I find is my most productive time to do that. I dedicate a couple hours every day, and then I try to leave my afternoons open to meet people in person. But that's my schedule, but I try to hold myself accountable to that as often as I can. And again, that's definitely perseverance and being patient, right? You guys are just getting started. You've got to build your database, you got to build your network, and get used to all the systems that we use, and be accountable, right? It's easy to say that you're not getting the help that you need, or the market's down. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people buying and selling, right? And you guys have to be accountable. If you're not part of that process, it's at some point you have to look at yourself. Mindset is a process, not an event. Again, the majority of what we're talking about today is mindset. So I know we're going to keep talking about that over and over, but attitude is literally everything. Again, you guys all have a mentor, right? And you'll find that the more often that you reach out to your mentor, the better that you will be to this, because you guys are 100% responsible, right? But you guys have to check in, and it's not not always up to your mentor to check on you every day, right? So if you're feeling down, if you're not having the success you want, reach out, right? Reach out anytime, right? If you guys are wanting to do open houses, if you guys are, I'm sure, already all on our Facebook, Realty One Group Revolution, post on there, hey, I'd love to do an open house this weekend, right? Like there's so many things that you guys can do. But it does involve you guys initiating those things. So don't ever feel like you can't reach out, or you're reaching out too much. Literally, it should be several times a week that you're reaching out to somebody, especially in the beginning. Clients first mentality. The biggest complaint about most agents is they don't follow up and they don't communicate once they get under contract with an agent. So making a commitment to your client and communicating is going to be the best practice for you guys always. Like always. The last thing you want is to get to the closing table and your client saying, hey, Denise never called me after we got under contract for the last couple of weeks. I don't think she deserves this commission, right? You don't want that, right? Or you don't want that, hey, Denise's client bought a car last week and now her financing is going to fall through because you haven't been talking with her constantly to let her know that, hey, that's probably not a good idea to go buy a new car, right? Do you guys, you need to make sure that your client is first and you're treating them with honesty, integrity, and professionalism. But again, communication is the most important part about what we do. So I'm not going to read all of these to you. But we'll go through some of them. There she is. Good morning. We had to get her hair done first, right?
My daughter was sitting on my lap. I finally got her settled.
So a couple of dudes. Obviously, confidence is a big thing, and I know that can be harder for some newer people. But when you show up and meet with a client in person, like, you should be exuding confidence, because even though you guys are newer in real estate, understand that Realty One Group is not, right? We sell the hundreds and thousands of houses, so you have that expertise behind you, and people want to know that you're confident that you can do the job, whether it's your first time or your 1000th time doing a house, right? When I get out of my car, like I'm ready to roll, and they feel my energy and excitement and confidence, and they know right away that they want to work with me, right? You guys can do that too from the very, very beginning. You guys are, over the next 12 weeks, this third one, build rapport. The so huge, right? I don't care how much you guys know about real estate, how much you love houses and architecture, and how much you know about the market. If people don't like you, they don't care, right? And all of you are, I'm sure I've talked to most of you guys before you started, but all you guys need to know that building rapport is so huge and fundamental for you guys getting business, right? if you're constantly telling people over the phone, you know, what your commission is and how much you want to price your house for and all this stuff, without spending the time to get to know them, you're not going to get a lot of business. So I find that when I show up at someone's house, my first 10, 20, 30 minutes is getting to know them, right? And getting them to like me before I ever talk about real estate. And the rapport building is, and again, I'm going to say this a lot over the next couple months, so get ready. The rapport building is such a huge aspect. And that's something that not all agents do. And you need to take advantage of that, you know, get to know your clients. I'm sure everyone's experienced that in their previous lives, their previous work lives, that building rapport is very helpful. I'm sure Trisha can speak to that in real estate as well. Getting to know people is going to make it easier for you to get new clients, and get them. Professionalism, speak and dress professionally, positive. Again, we're not going to go over all this stuff, but just some to-dos, don'ts. One of the easiest things to do is put down your competition, right? Not a good look, not something that you should ever be doing. And it's not something that's you're allowed to do, right? I mean, you guys all just basically finish your real estate courses. You know you can't be talking bad about other agents, right? And there's no need to, right? You know, there's something your client didn't like about their previous agent, they'll be happy to share that with you, right? You don't need to put them down. It's not going to make you look good saying, hey, your agent with Remax sucked. They're not a good company. You need to work with me. No, this is what I bring to the table, and this is how I operate, and this is how we'll work through this escrow. We'll get you a lot farther along. I promise you. Don't lose your cool. Almost lost my cool this weekend. Had a deal that fell through. And you know, it can be frustrating, but you have to stay positive, and you know, we're going to come out the other side and get back under contract. You know, nobody wants to lose an escrow, but it happens. And me staying cool and positive made them not freak out, because they lost $7,500 due diligence. But it happens. Don't sell desperate. Yeah, we won't go through all these. Does anybody do this? Does anyone meditate, read any books? Does everyone do that? Not do that? Nothing? Nobody? All right.
Music count?
I mean, yeah, music's kind of my getaway as well. I don't do a lot of it either, to be completely honest. I do have maybe goals, maybe a goal like vision board. I do have on my whiteboard, you know, I mean, how many listings I want per month, but obviously never hurts to learn more about your craft, and I have read a half dozen real estate books, but doesn't hurt to do that. Affirmations. You guys want to write your own affirmation while we're on here and give it to us? That could be fun. Just think about that for the next minute, and then each one of you just give me your daily affirmation. Here's a couple examples. I know my value and only work with realistic, qualified, motivated buyers and sellers, which is very, very important. So you guys are going to have most of this. Again, this slide's probably a little bit old, but obviously to do your job, you need a laptop, an excellent camera. You know, honestly, most of our phones are probably better cameras than a lot of photographers use at this day and time. Again, aesthetically, it looks better to not use an iPhone when you're taking pictures for your client. And you guys will, as you start doing, you know, listings like Trisha, you'll decide in that listing that you take on Friday, do you hire a photographer? Do you do your own photos? You know, does that depend on your price point? Do you always use photographer, right? So you just have to figure out what's best for you. If you need a recommendation, I've got a good guy that does all mine. I'll be happy to share that with you. His name is Roberto. Yeah, so if you're going to do your own photos, again, aesthetically, it doesn't look good taking it with your iPhone, even though this thing takes phenomenal photos. And And just a side note about photos. If you guys do take photos, you have to take it in landscape, right? Because the MLS, if you've taken it this way with your phone, it shows up cropped and it does not look good. So just know, take it like this. You guys will be much happier, because the worst thing is if you do have to take them with your phone, say it's a vacant house, they're not there, you can get some good pictures, is having to go back out and take pictures again, because that happens. Business cards, stamps, I don't, we don't really use stamps as much, but maybe you're going to send out some mailers, but obviously some very basic stuff that you guys need to do your job. Know your market. How would you know your market? Where would you go to figure out active listings, new listings, things like that? Any of the people?
Like online, the MLS, just go, visit open houses, just know the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
And
Denise,
by
Brittany,
doing a
Yolanda-
CMA?
Yeah. Denise, Brittany, Yolanda, you guys all three have access to Canopy?
Not yet.
Yes, I do.
The process.
Okay. Brittany, you do?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Obviously Trisha does. So this is, let me see if I can find. In the MLS, you have in your homepage, market watch, there's 6 coming soons today. There's 36 new listings. I actually have one of those 36 in Charlotte as mine. I had to listen to this one live this morning. Price increase, price decrease. So we can click on new listings and go through here and look at all these. Oh, look, this one's actually mine. There's 36 out of all the Charlotte agents, and one of these is mine. Actually, I do not have all the pictures for me for this one, but so yeah, so you're able to see all the coming soon, so you guys can keep track of what's average per day, per week. You can filter that out. This is a nice little house in Belmont that just went live. And I'll show you the listing documents I did for this, Trisha, in just a few, so you can put those together. But again, that's just right on your main dashboard, right? And you can filter this out by the last 3 days, 7 days. But you can also just go into your area. You could just say Hickory's in there for some reason. Let's just use Hickory, right? What's active in Hickory? And we can go through here and see this. So, you can constantly keep track of like very specific areas. You can do it on your specific street, right? So you can find out what's sold, what hasn't sold. This one has 4 active properties and two properties that are under contract, right? So that doesn't necessarily tell us what price they sold at, right? Because it's still under contract. And understand that these prices don't reflect what price they accepted, right? It just shows that they're under contract. But it's good information for you guys to have, right? So when Trisha has her listing appointment on Friday, she's going to run a CMA for that specific house within probably 2 blocks of that house. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
Done. Yep.
And she'll do her market research and figure out what she thinks that house is worth. But everyone knows how to get to like this basic searching and stuff. Okay. Play around with it, Denise. When you get in there, obviously I'll help you play around with it. But it's very easy to use. You're gonna go to residential. I go to detailed, and then I have it. You can pick what you want to use. Let's just go back to Hickory. If I'm gonna do a CMA, right? It's good to have active and under contract stuff, but I also want to see what is closed, right? So I'm going to click on this. This is going to show me what is closed in the last 180 days. So 6 months, right? Maybe I want to click expired. So maybe that gave us a few more results, right? So this one closed. right? So I would use that as a comp, right? So this one was listed for 769. It sold for 730, right? So it sold for under, which means it was probably on the market for a little bit. It was on the market commute total for over 111 days, right? So if you're basing a house that was nearby, you would base it off of this square footage and the price that it sold at, right? So those things we'll dive into deeper as we go. But get familiar with your MLS. It is very easy to find everything in here. Realist tax. So let's, for example, if you wanted to know the tax information, you could go to Realist tax. Put that in there. And that's going to give us this information, the owners. There's two people that are owning it. Information about that house. All the information that you need about it. It actually will give you kind of an estimate as well of what it's worth, which is not always accurate. It'll show the last time it was listed, and just all their information and a picture of the kind of what their lot is shaped like. So definitely recommend for new agents, spend a lot of time just playing around in here. Put your own address in here. Put your own address in Realist tax, because you guys will spend a lot of time in there. This is where you guys will add a listing, right? So Trish will be doing this for the first time, hopefully Friday evening, is going into add right here and putting a listing in there. But we will play with that the whole MLS as we go to the 12 weeks. But no, that's where you guys are going to go to learn your market. Let's see. Identify your strengths. I mean, obviously you guys are already in real estate, but Denise, for example, I mean, your strengths is running a business, right? So that's going to be good for you, right? You know, what activities have you enjoyed? What activities are you good at? Are there any patterns in that? And that's going to help you guys figure out your strengths. My strength is, for example, it's the sales side. I love that side of things, and I suck at paperwork, right? So I know some of my strengths. I definitely know my weaknesses, and yeah. What's Brittany? What's a strength of yours?
Oh, I'm trying to think here within real estate.
Or just anything. I mean, just I mean, maybe you're organized, or maybe
Yes,
you have
very,
great
very
hair.
much
Maybe,
so.
you know, I mean, what are some
I would say organization is probably one of my strengths.
good? I'll trade you. I would like to have that. Denise, any strings for you?
I would say, just about the same, organization. I love spreadsheets. I love Excel. So I'm always creating spreadsheets for everything. So if you have it in your mind, have a spreadsheet for that, kind of thing,
All right. Well, I'm jealous of both of you. Yolanda, any strings for you?
I would just say communication. I'm attentive and responsive, so I'm just really good with communication skills.
Yeah, I mean, your past business has led you to a great communicator for this, right? So that should translate very, very well, because it's very similar to what you've done before. So,
Right.
yeah, you're on the right path. Trisha, what about you? What are some strengths for you? What's kept you in the real estate game for so long and doing well?
I guess just my love for real estate. And just helping people.
Yeah.
I'm a
It helps.
helper.
It helps to love what you do. That's definitely something nice. Not everyone does that.
And I enjoy helping people
Yes,
and watching them achieve, home ownership.
making monies. Running your business like a business. At the end of the day, I mean, obviously, you guys work for Realty One Group Revolution. That's the company you are hanging your license with, but your business is your business, and you need to treat everything you do like it's a little company, right? And if you have that mindset, then it's easy for you to hold yourself accountable for what you're doing. And obviously, when you have your own business, you can pass that book of business down, right? I mean, maybe one day your kids become agents. My son's only 2, so I'd have to do this for a long time to make that happen. But your CRM, all your business is worth something, right? So thinking about this as a business makes it easier for you guys to understand what you're doing. We do have a business planning event that we do in person. So I'm not going to go into this a whole lot. Andrea normally holds this, and she's really good at helping people write their business plans, what their goals are, and then helping you track your results. But I can also email this to you as well if you guys want to fill this out and kind of set your own business plan. Build your team. And this is as we go, I'll introduce you to more and more people. You'll definitely want a good mortgage person, right? I think for most agents, that's a good first best friend, right? Obviously you're us here at Realty One Group, right? Me, but you have access to everyone else. So very helpful for you. So, Trisha, maybe when you meet with your client on Friday and it's on the lake and you don't know much about Lake Norman, right? And they have a question you can answer, give me a call, right? I mean, you have built-in people within the company. A mortgage person is going to be good for you guys. A good attorney. We use Michael and Gray a lot, right? That's a company that we use and trust a lot. I've got an inspector that I like to use. I've got a repair guy that does a lot of the repairs for these houses if they need it. I've got a lawn guy. If my client's out of town and they need their grass cut before a showing, then I can send a guy out there in 30 minutes and he'll take care of it. So having all those things under your belt is super helpful. And when you're meeting with the client and you letting them know, like, hey, I've got a guy that can do this, this, and this, it makes you look like a better agent, right? So we'll start introducing those people as we go through this journey. And then we do, a lot of our in-person trainings are held by one of our mortgage lenders. I think we had one last week. You'll meet some of our inspectors at some of our in-person stuff. So get to know people, go to lunch with them, build a relationship with those people because those people can help you out. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely. Again, we're not going to get into a lot of the goal settings. That's something we do in person. But we will get into that. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? Well, I know Denise is in Las Vegas right now. You're not even where you need to be physically.
Yeah, that's correct. I was gonna say that's my first goal,
Yes.
make it to South
To
Carolina.
actually get where you want to be physically. Where do you want to be? I mean, are you not your full goals, but I mean, do you want to be a full-time agent soon? Do you want to start off part-time? Do you want to close your first transaction by the end of the year? I mean, where are you at now with things and where do you want to be?
Oh goodness. So I did write some goals down. So and I do have some measurable goals that I want to get to, but I mean, definitely mostly part-time. I wouldn't say I would go fully part-time. And like I mentioned, have another business that I'm running. So so that's, I mean, I have somebody hired, to, do part of that job, but it still needs some of my attention. So I would say probably 3/4, full-time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Brittany, you are in the right area.
Yes.
Where are you at now with things, and where do you want to be in the short future?
Right now, brand new. So it's like I just want to get in, get to know everything, start learning more about it. I'm thinking like part-time, but my thought is like by the time my daughter gets school age, it's like I want to be able to like really hit the ground running. So next
Right.
few years, I just want to keep building as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. And your daughter's 1, right?
Yes, she's 1.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. My little man's 2 years and 3 months old.
Oh my goodness.
Today was his first day of daycare. It broke our heart to drop him off. But yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. But you'll get there. So I mean, that's
Yep.
where you want to be. You want to be at a point where you can handle real estate and still spend time with your daughter, and that's going to be a balance, right? So we'll get you there. Yolanda, where do you want to be?
Well, I definitely want to work towards being full-time. I also want to add South Carolina to my belt as well.
Yeah,
Um, I'm just right here on the border of North Carolina, and like Lake Wylie is right across from me. So it's kind of like I know there's a market over there, and I want to kind of tap into that too. But
absolutely.
but definitely push towards full time. Definitely want to at least close one or two homes this year. I know I'm behind a little bit due to some issues that had come up since I did obtain my license, but I'm kind of want to just go full force and just push through and attain the goal of at least one or two this year.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a very, very obtainable goal for everyone on here, right? Get a couple of transactions under your belt by the end of the year, right?
Hopefully.
Chris, I mean, Chris doesn't. I mean, he should be teaching this class. I'm not sure if he wants to chime in and tell us where he wants to be. Um,
I want to be sitting where you are,
oh, get out of here.
but not teaching. I just want to have, all the business you have.
No. Chris is being humble. Chris is a great agent and on his way to be a top producer for sure. And doing a lot of great things, right? Working on his logos and branding and getting himself out there. And that's kind of something we'll talk about a little bit more about next week. But yeah, that's a big step is getting yourself out there so people recognize who you are and what you do. Trisha, what about you? I know you're just kind of going back and forth between Florida and North Carolina. Do you have any where you want to be in North Carolina?
Oh, yeah, like I'm already signing up for what is it, Opcity
Mhm.
to see if I can get any more leads while I'm down there. Get a couple of listings under my belt. Get them
Nice,
sold by the end of the year.
nice, very nice, very nice. All good goals, right? I mean, and again, transactions are great, but maybe some of you just want to pass your 90 hours post licensing by the end of the year and learn as much as you can. Maybe some of you guys, it is I want a goal by this date. I mean a deal by this date, but whatever your goals are, make sure that they're obtainable, right? If Brittany said she wants to have 10 deals by end of the year, I'd say, well, probably not obtainable yet, right? Next year, yes, absolutely, right? But let's take baby steps and make sure that everything that you set for yourself is obtainable, right? Income goals, and this kind of goes along with, and again, we're gonna do this in an in-person event, so we're not gonna go through all this now, but this is one of those things where you have to kind of plan backwards, like how much money do you want to make? Well, how much money do I spend? And so, some of us spend more than others. I like expensive things and I like to travel a lot, right? So my vacation and travel budget is probably higher than it should be, but that's something I enjoy, right? So the goal for yourself needs going to be down here and how much you want to make minus all this and how much you want to walk away with. So that's gonna be different from everyone else. But again, that goes along with having realistic expectations, right? And how many deals we're going to close in our first couple months. But hopefully this rev up is going to help you guys expedite that a lot, right? So hopefully, next week, branding yourself, the following week, building your database is going to help you guys open up and start finding clients a lot faster than most other agents are going to do it. So that is the goal for you guys. So this is something you guys can all do as well. Like pick what area that you plan on working with. I do think in the beginning it helps to have a broader area. I know that some agents like to keep a very small. Maybe Denise just wants to work in Fort Mill, right? She wants to just only work there and not leave Fort Mill, and that's fine, right? For myself, I cover a bigger area. I don't mind hopping in my car and driving an hour in every direction, right? I just had a closing in Hickory. I've got one going on in Rock Hill. I'm here in Huntersville and I have a closing in Huntersville this week, but that just happens to be local. So, what area do you want to be at? But, let's pick Fort Mill. What's the average sales price? in Fort Mill, right? And what are the average commissions on both sides, right? And are you guys going to be more on the buyer side or the listing side, right? And Trisha, I know you mentioned you had a listing this week, right? Are you always more on the listing side, or do you work with a lot of buyers as well?
Well, here in Florida, yeah, I work with both. Under the circumstances right now would be better if I get listings in Charlotte, in
Right.
North Carolina, because they're easier to deal with unless, I find a buyer and get them in a property. I am working with a buyer though now there,
That's nice.
which I'll be busy when I get down there, get up there.
Good. Up there, yes, up. Yes.
So between classes and everything else, yeah.
You've got a lot going on. You're traveling a lot.
Yep.
What is an hour worth of your time? And again, this kind of goes back to the goal planning and stuff, which we're going to do in person, but you can kind of figure out by how much you need to make a year, divide that by the weeks and hours in a day. Planning and tracking, I think is absolutely huge. Is planning your week, tracking what you do. You want to make sure that you're doing efficient stuff that's highly productive, right? And as a business owner, I've owned other businesses and run another company as well. Denise, you're running a business. There's a lot of stuff that you can constantly be doing that's not necessarily productive stuff, right? So we have to find ways to schedule things that are very productive during productive hours, right? So there's things that could be done later in the evenings that aren't maybe productive things, or like bringing in new clients. That's probably the best time to do that stuff, right? So during the day when you're able to make your money and schedule appointments, like that's when you want to focus on that stuff instead of doing busy work during those times. And if you can delegate some of those things that are just busy work, then that's obviously more power to you. Time blocking. I even have this little, turn it on, this little calendar, or this little clock that sits beside me. And it just sits here, and for the next 50 minutes, I'm going to make phone calls, and I'm not touching my cell phone. I'm calling through my CRM, and I'm just going to focus, right? I might set every 30 minutes. I'm just going to work on paperwork and SkySlope and getting that done. So I try to find a way to make myself hyper focused, because it is very easy to start doing laundry, take the dog for a walk, send an email. Next thing you know, it's lunchtime. You boys got to eat. Next thing you know, it's time to pick up the kids. Next thing you know, it's bedtime and the day's gone by and you guys haven't been productive. So block out time, right? For a lot of you guys are part-time, right? So maybe you're only doing 3 days a week for 2 hours each one of those days, right? But make a schedule and stick with it and hold yourself accountable for doing those times, and it'll be super, super helpful. Andrea normally does this week one because she is the time blocking expert. She blocks everything off. I wish I was as organized as her. But this is an example chart of time blocking. For me, it's usually make X amount of phone calls between 9 and 11, right? That's kind of my time blocking. And then I'm running appointments in the afternoon and evenings. But you guys can time block for whatever and however you need, but we'll dive into that much more. But that is a big part of real estate is forcing yourself to do the stuff that's not fun, right? Nobody likes picking up the phone call. Like, that part's not fun, but it's what pays the bills. Being accountable. We will host an in-person one if you guys haven't already done it, where you have an accountability partner and you can check in with that person every now and then. All you guys have mentors, right? So those people should be holding you accountable. And you should also be reaching out to them every week. And if I'm your mentor, like Yolanda, I know we meet during here, but you should also be reaching out to me outside of this, right? So whoever your mentor is, at least once or twice a week, you should be saying, hey, like, am I on track? This is what I've done this week. What else can I do? Can I shadow you on a showing this week? Can I hold an open house for you this weekend, right? So stay committed to that and make sure that you're constantly asking and following up. prospecting. This is gonna be a huge one that we're gonna get into next week and the week after. But a huge part of your business is prospecting, right? And that's all my time blocking is dedicated to prospecting, because even though I have a nice amount of clients right now, it's I understand that this is a pipeline business and I constantly have to fill my pipeline with more clients. And when you think about running your business as that, right? I get a new listing, I put it under contract, I need another new listing. One of my deals is closing, I need to put another one under contract, right? So I'm just constantly trying to keep that pipeline going, so I'm constantly getting paid is the goal. Go to this whole one.